Good evening. Thank you for coming this evening to our chapel service. We are here to present the subject of Self-Care is Not Selfish by Reverend Brenda McGrath. But first, we always begin with a prayer for peace. Divine Creator, we ask that the light of highest awareness fill the minds and hearts of those who are open to your light. We ask that they be assisted and strengthened in their resolve to achieve peace using peaceful means. May their minds, their hearts, and their actions reflect the divine will to good for all. Comfort, strengthen, and support those who are in a difficult situation in their mind, body, or spirit. Bring confidence to them that your divine hand is at work in their life. Amen. Well, we are the Community Chapel of Holistic Healing, and we are a not-for-profit organization founded in 1977 by Reverend Michelle Lusan, who was asked to have this organization developed by Spirit. Specifically, Swami Sivananda was overshadowing her and gave her the impetus to start the organization and place it in the Washington, D.C. area specifically, that we would be here to bring more light to the nation's capital. We are here to help individuals to achieve their transformation into higher dimensions of consciousness, and in doing so will help the world to make the transformation as well. So we always begin our everything we do pretty much by the recitation of these affirmations, which Michelle channeled in many years ago. The faith affirmation, I believe in the spiritual existence of myself, is a perfect image of the divine creator. In this reflection that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. Outside of myself, there are also perfect images, and nothing can delude my thinking otherwise. The hope affirmation, acknowledging my faith in the omnipresence of my divinity. I hope for realization, awareness, and acknowledgement of the existence of the great I am within myself. The charity affirmation, in understanding faith, in knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself on the physical planes of the earth, to honor, to love, and to enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside myself, so that my perfection is imaged back to my Creator. So help me God. And this evening, Reverend Brenda McGrath will make the presentation to us on self-care and its importance. Brenda?
Thank you, Mary. It's an honor to be here to talk about how self-care is not selfish. And I want to make sure everyone knows that Spirit usually guides me to explore topics that are important to share, but just as important for me to really take a hard look at, if you know what I mean. So it's not meant to be preachy, just learning valuable lessons as I go, as I'm willing to step up. So I hope you find value in lessons to learn that you might be able to share. And thank you for being here. So I'm going to use this time to cover what self-care is and what it is not. I'll cover the gamut of things you may not have considered, and examples from my life, and then wrap up with why it might just be critically important to take it to heart at this particular time in history. So let's start with what self-care is and why it is not selfish. Yes, it is focusing on yourself, and while it may seem selfish or putting yourself before others, I'll use the common aviation example of putting your own oxygen mask on first before you assist others. So we're no good to others when we're physically, emotionally, or spiritually depleted. Self-care is a common catchphrase, but it's supported biblically in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 19 and 20. It says, where Apostle Paul writes, he talks about the body being the temple for the Holy Spirit. And it says, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. Meaning God lives inside you. Take care of those temples, right? So these verses, as well as references in Timothy, Philippians, Peter, and Romans, also emphasize that caring for your personal, physical, emotional, and spiritual health is part of honoring God and being able to serve effectively. They cite specifically manage our anxiety, set appropriate boundaries, and practice self-discipline. So I, for one, even when serving others, have occasionally snapped at people because, of course, my fuse gets shorter when I'm stressed or I don't feel well. So maybe you've done the same. And if we let ourselves get into that point and get into that place where we're just exhausted on any of these levels, we might need to put ourselves in what we call a timeout. So now a timeout isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? That's what we used to tell our kids. But it is, just like with children, taking time to reflect. How did I get here? What could I have done differently? How can I avoid this situation where I'm completely stressed or completely exhausted? Or if you're stubborn like me, waited until the point where I'm actually sick, where I can't get out of bed. I call this one the God-imposed timeout versus the self-imposed timeout, where I am suddenly flat on my back with only time to reflect and figure out what I can do now and in the future to prevent such things happening. So let me, So my first experience with my own self-imposed timeout was when friends noticed that I was completely burnt out. I knew I was tired all the time. Sure, I was a single mom with young kids, stressful corporate job, a ministry, tackling way too much and not even realizing that I was burnt out. So they gave me a prescription. They said, one solid 3-day weekend alone, a literal shut-in. What? Be a hermit? I thought, I don't have time for that. I am way too busy. That's 72 hours I could be getting my to-do list done. They said, no phone, no work, no outside world, just me meditating, eating organic, fresh, healthy food, taking care of me. I said, what? You mean I have to cook? None of this sounded like a spa weekend that I thought I needed. So then they said, and journaling. I thought you said no work. That sounded an awful lot like work to me. Then they said, take a long bath. And I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And they were exactly right about all of it. No distractions. My ex was going to be traveling with the kids, so I took their advice and it worked. It was a complete reset. And when my nervous system went from go, go, go and was able to slow down a bit, I realized I needed to make some big changes, like leave my job, that high stress, high pressure job, be there for my children, and I mean really be present with them, available emotionally. We were all going through a horrible divorce situation, so I decided to substitute at their school, change my schedule, and align myself with my priorities instead of letting everything else run my life. So I consider that to be the beginning of my self-care journey. Still falling down even now, but still working at it, learning and growing instead of being stuck in a rut, in a routine that was not helping anyone or anything. And here's the best part. It turns out self-care boosts your self-esteem. I promise you. Every act of self-care that you do, your self-esteem grows, even if it's just doing your toenails. Something so mundane, doing it as an act of love for yourself makes all the difference. So take your time, don't rush it, relish it. Self-care increases self-love, and self-love increases self-esteem. So another aha came after it was over, after I was able to go outside. I was finally okay being by myself. I didn't need attention from a man. I didn't need to be entertained, watching movies or going to concerts. It certainly doesn't mean I don't still do those things, but I didn't need to jam my schedule to feel productive or secure. I could even enjoy going to movies or concerts by myself. Wow, that was a real shift. Completely freeing. So I highly suggest the shut-in timeout. So let's cover some other items. We're going to go over some categories of self-care because they're all important. And Edgar Cayce, which many of you know and have studied, the sleeping prophet, right, as he's known, he was a biblical scholar and he put himself in service to God by putting himself in a trance or sleep-like state to channel remedies and prophecies to help terminal cases or lost causes, as the doctors referred to, where the doctors would give up and send their patients to Edgar. His assistant, Gladys Davis, would transcribe these sessions and documented more than 14,000 readings. And in one of these readings, 2281-13, he identified three categories for what we could refer to as self-care. One was for purification, which includes body, mind, and space. Then the second one was forgiveness. and then the third, meditation. He also deemed this last one as the single most important thing that you can do for your spiritual evolution. So I'm going to cover all three. The first one is purification. And the purification first of the body, he recommended eliminating toxins by eliminating alcohol, number one, reducing or eliminating meat, especially red meat or pork. Drink only purified water, 8 glasses a day. Fast 1 day a week with only water or broth. That one's tough for me, but I'm certainly going to try. He also recommends castor oil packs to detox your liver. So in this method, he pours castor oil on a piece of flannel material, places it over the liver area on the right-hand side of your abdomen. And then he suggests wrapping the abdomen in plastic wrap. This cuts down on the mess. And then you apply a heating pad. So all of those are for purification of the body. And next we can talk about purification of the mind. So this one is so hard because it's monitoring your thoughts, but it gets easier as you start to catch yourself in recognizing negative thoughts or negative thought patterns. So abstaining from negative thoughts. He says no gossip, no judgment, no fear-based thoughts. So once you recognize it, you can let it go, replace it with a positive thought. And I use the standard one. They're doing their best, and so am I. Cancel clear also works. Or I've probably done the same thing, right? That putting myself in the same boat as they are when I can't think of a more specific positive thought to replace it with. I try to get to the point where I can truthfully say, I haven't said an unkind word to anyone all day. Then my next step is to work on the thoughts so that at least I didn't speak any of those thoughts, right? So the last part was finally journaling, getting those thoughts out on paper and working through them. I know it sounds like work. That was what I said, but it really works. Okay, so that might be able to help you figure out those themes in your thought patterns and really be able to dig in. And we'll talk more about how to remedy those thought patterns in a little bit. Okay, so the last part of purification, according to Casey, is your home space. And he said this is really important. So, does anybody remember Barney? Clean up, everybody, everywhere. Clean up, everybody, do your share. And this is just an easy one. Just clean your house, right? I chose this picture because as I was working on this, a very fine cat hair flew right into my eye. And it's been reminding me the whole time, constantly, with every blink, to clean my house. So spirit's funny like that sometimes. Next, he says, remove some items with negative memories, right? We all have some some items in our house that we may have received from someone that brings back those negative memories. So he just says, remove the items. Next, he says, sage your space. Sage is really good for clearing out negative energies in your home. Native Americans use it. Lots of cultures use incense, things to clear out those negative energies. And I would add, clean your crystals. Right? You can clean your crystals in salt, or put them in the sunshine, or even use selenite. I have a little block of selenite that I just got to help clear my crystals of negative energy. So then he says, for your space, open your windows and doors. If you can, even just for a second, let that fresh air in. I know it's cold out there in some places and energy costs are high. Maybe the ionizer or air filter might help if you can't bear to let the heat out. So next he says, create a meditation space if you don't have one, or an altar. Light a candle in prayer. It's also a good place for your nice clean crystals. All right, so all that was about purification, body, mind, and space. The next two categories, according to Casey, are super simple. These are forgiveness and meditation. So they're simple in how I'm going to cover them, but actually doing them might be a little bit more difficult. So it takes practice, 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 practice. And I have a Casey quote that might help in forgiveness. Go. So it says, judge not as to this or that activity of another. Rather pray that the light may shine even in their lives as it has in thine. So as we start with forgiveness, some folks think that forgiving someone lets them off the hook, or even lets them get away with whatever they've done to you. And that's just not true. You can forgive someone and still set a healthy boundary. So you're not opening yourself up to being abused, for example, right? We can forgive someone and then still not be around them, right? If they're going to continue an abusive cycle. But what forgiveness does is lets you off the hook. You see, if you're holding on to that negative feeling or what you tell yourself about what happened, you're holding on to a resentment. And holding on to resentments lowers your vibration. We're going to get more into vibration in a minute, but it actually only hurts you, not them. Right? We think that maybe we're punishing them by not forgiving them, and that somehow that's going to change their behavior, right? But in truth, they could probably care less about what they did to you, or at least they're not even thinking about it, right? So forgiveness is the answer. Every time you forgive, you increase your own vibration, and you're increasing your own level of consciousness. So this is why Jesus taught, forgive, forgive, forgive. And I'm going to get more into consciousness in a second with the meditation that we do to increase our vibration. Just remember that forgiveness is for your highest good. It has little or nothing to do with them. It's a gift, especially for you, that you give to yourself. So it's an important part of our self-care ritual. And forgiveness can come in stages or layers. You might think to yourself, shoot, this is coming up again. I thought I had forgiven, I thought I had processed all this, but it keeps coming up. So, just like nesting dolls, you may get as a gift, you open one, and then there's another inside. So, just keep releasing. You can even use the phrase, I let this resentment go and I replace it with love for myself, or any other affirmation that works for you. You're going to know that you've completely forgiven when you can think of that person or hear their name and you don't get mad anymore. And you don't feel that resentment come up. You don't feel that knot in your stomach or that tightness in your chest or that anger. And you know when you don't get mad anymore. So, for the next one, Casey talked about meditation. And again, he said it's the single most important thing you can do for yourself and your spiritual growth. He recommends starting with 3 deep breaths and setting an intention. Intention for the session is especially important and something that I usually forget to do. So when we do our meditation coming up, I'll use a specific intention, but please feel free to use your own. He says, protect yourself, call for your helpers, your angels, put yourself in a protective bubble of light. He also stresses to focus on an ideal, like compassion or love or deepening in kindness, or maybe being of service. Some ideal state that you want to strive for. Picture yourself as that ideal person that you want to be. But don't expect perfection, right? Don't fall into that trap of trying to be perfect. Just strive for the ideal, but don't set that unreasonable expectation to never falter. And when you do falter, as we all do, just try again. Every little bit helps. So another additional benefit that I wanted to mention is that you might find meditation for those of us with ADD or ADD tendencies. Meditation can help with ADD because it's good, concentrated practice, focusing your attention for periods of time. And over time, you can train yourself to focus longer and longer. That may also be why it's harder for some folks than others to meditate. Of course, check with your doctor if there are any serious mental health issues. So, okay, we're going to try this meditation in a bit, but for now, I want to include some of the self-care items or supports, as Reverend Michelle Luson used to refer to them, in her program that she developed called Creative Wellness. So we spoke a little bit about affirmations, that replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Very important, especially when we're seeing those patterns emerge in our negative thoughts. Maybe as we're journaling, we can see the patterns as they emerge. So you can find some specific affirmations in the Louise Hay materials that counter those specific thoughts. when you grab them and look more closely. Um, they might suggest those themes. You might find a specific affirmation that negates all thoughts in a category. Say, for example, low self esteem, unworthiness, defeatism. See if you can figure out what general area your negative thoughts fall into. And then look for those affirmations that specifically address those themes or those individual thoughts. So it is a struggle when you're looking at your own thoughts, right? You're going about your day. You might have 10 thoughts before you actually catch one and say, "Oh, yeah, that's a negative thought. What can I replace it with?" But as you go, it'll get easier and easier. You'll start catching them sooner and sooner, and then they will diminish as you are replacing them and working on your own issues that are coming up. So, Michelle also had supports in creative wellness that she used. One was essential oils. So you can find an oil or a blend. I really like the rescue remedy or the um, On Guard. I think doTERRA calls it On Guard. It's an immune support blend of oils, and just find one that resonates with you, something that makes you feel lighter or stronger or more calm, if that's what you need. There's another blend called Calm, right? So just find what you need. Use them daily if you can. Even just a whiff of the oil makes me feel much better. So, aromatherapy, or you can use the oil directly on your skin. If you have sensitive skin, you might use a carrier oil. All of these things are great self-care items. Okay, another one that Michelle used were gemstones or crystals. Gemstones and crystals were great supports for taking care of ourselves. We can find a new one that calls to you. You might already have a whole drawer full. Get them out, use them, clean them, see what calls to you. Maybe carry one in your pocket for the next month. We're coming up on an important date. I'll talk more about in a minute. Um, whatever you feel really supports you. I have many necklaces, crystal necklaces, earrings. I have some coral earrings I got from a friend, bracelets. You might see a lot of people with those prayer bracelets or prayer beads. The rosary, you might be able to get a rosary that has specific gemstones that support you as a person. And in creative wellness, there are specific remedies for specific types, as she identifies in her book, Creative Wellness. So one other really important one is just color. Color heals, it attunes your chakras and raises your vibrations. So see what colors you're attracted to, wear them, surround yourself with them, and let them support you in your daily life out in the world and in your home. So I got myself some pink sheets and a new quilt to match that I just love. So it helps me sleep, helps me just relax into bedtime. So paint your walls the colors that you like. And I have to add music. I hope you've been to a sound healing session that really spoke to you. So relaxing and healing. If you have toning bowls or crystal bowls, I like to lay them down. I like to lay down and lay them on my belly or a particular chakra to feel that vibration as they sound throughout my entire body. Raises your vibration, gets your chakras attuned to the certain resonance. And then music, of course, soothes my soul in many ways. And I like to have a dance party in my living room. So it's a valuable self care tool. I know it sounds funny, but it releases so much tension, anger, and frustration. I like to dance like no one is watching when no one is watching. So I have private dance parties with me, myself, and I. So the next thing I want to talk about is spending some time in nature. Wherever you are, if you can get to a park or go for a walk, get some fresh air and sunshine, getting that vitamin D directly from the sun. Plus, out in nature, you're loading up on those negatively charged ions coming into your energetic field. Anytime you can walk barefoot or lay in the grass, let Mother Earth heal and strengthen you. So finally, community. It's like once you're out of your shut in, um, just like you're doing here, finding people on the same path, communing with them is a huge source of support, and we're here for you. We offer programs like Prayers for Peace, spiritual healing, intuitive development, and card readings. You can email pastor@ccwh.com for an invite to these live sessions. Lots of communities for support out there and right here. So before I get to the meditation, if all of these ideas around self-care weren't enough, there is one last but very important part that I want to share. This is about timing, and it makes it even more important. I know all of these supports and all of these self-care ideas may seem pretty basic, things we all know and understand, but these things are important, and now it's becoming urgent. So Michelle used to say, it's not by accident or by chance that we have all chosen to incarnate at this time. And I would say it's not by accident or by chance that we all gather together here, this particular group, as well as those who may come across this material. It is linked to our own individual purpose on Earth. And she aligned very closely with Edgar Cayce in the prophecy that there would be a great shift. Folks now refer to a timeline shift or a shift from the third dimension to the fifth dimensional realities if you follow eraofpeace.org. And many cultures have prophesied of a great shift where there is a clear before and after. And Michelle believed we were here to prepare for that shift and that we are all coming together as light workers to prepare for that shift. Edgar Cayce also talked about the poles of the earth shifting, the positive and negative poles shifting, which may coincide with this shift. But he also referenced a winter solstice in the year of the Great Awakening. This is a time where the physical dimension and the spiritual dimension would converge. So Michelle said for the shift to happen, it would take a critical mass. And this critical mass is a certain number of people to elevate consciousness to a point where this shift occurs. And that's when I signed up. I said, I'm in, let's do this. She said it didn't have to be 50% of humanity to make this shift. Humanity doesn't need to embody the higher frequencies needed to tilt those scales. It could be as few as 50 people on Earth. It was more about quality than quantity. It was about raising the vibration of our consciousness that would affect the whole collective consciousness, and that once it happened, everyone would feel and see it, that convergence of the spiritual and physical. So she also warned that it might be jarring for those who were not aware or not prepared. Like I said, many cultures and religions have similar prophecies, but Michelle and Edgar Casey's predictions were consistent. Raising consciousness is where it's at. And each of us contribute with our own consciousness. And these are the ways to do it. So self-care is not just not selfish. It's so important, not just for us, but for all of humanity. Like literally the entire world and literally all of humanity. So Edgar says it takes 40 days of consistent practice to clean, clear, and elevate our consciousness and our vibration. And that's where the winter solstice comes in. We're preparing for the December 21st winter solstice right now. And although we're behind the curve, so to speak, with less than 30 days left, it is still worth the effort, like all of our effort. Since timing is not set in stone, specific dates weren't given, but some folks who study these prophecies feel this year is the year of the Great Awakening. As the end of a 26,000-year cycle, and when the veil is thin during the winter solstice, let's do our part. Whether it's this year, next year, whatever year, either way, it's in our best interest, in our own personal best interest, and in the best interest of all, could make all the difference in the world. So let's set an intention and commit to raising our vibration, clean and clear our body, mind, and spirit and space. Whatever we can do in advance, the more prepared we will be, and the smoother it will be. She said, it's really up to us. Everyone will be along for the ride, but we can certainly help ourselves tremendously by smoothing it out and increasing our own vibration to match. So we do that with our self-discipline and our self-care. So I'm reminded of the song Flowers by Miley Cyrus, where she sings, I can buy myself flowers. And where we can and should take care of ourselves first. And her last line is, and we can love ourselves better than you can. So I hope you'll join me in committing to self-care, self-love, and raising our vibration for our own good and for the good of all. So I'm going to do a meditation for us now. If you will get comfortable in your seat. This meditation is designed to be flexible enough for daily practice while maintaining a consistent structure that will deepen over time. So let's relax. Take in 3 deep breaths. Maybe wiggle, get comfortable in your seat if you need to. Close your eyes gently and allow your entire body to settle in. Take your first deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely, and release slowly through your mouth, letting go of any tension. Take your second breath in, drawing in peace and calm, and out, releasing anything that no longer serves you. Take your third breath in, breathing in divine light and energy, beautiful white light of love, and out, settling fully into this sacred moment. Now bring to mind the quality that you wish to cultivate over these next 40 days. Edgar Cayce called it an ideal. Maybe you want to deepen in unconditional love. Maybe deepen in unconditional love for self. Maybe you want to expand your compassion for yourself and others. Or maybe you want to grow in kindness and gentle presence. You can choose one of these ideals that resonates most deeply with you in your heart right now. We can silently state our intention. I choose to deepen in whatever you chose over these next 40 days, raising my vibration and aligning with my highest self. Call upon your spirit guides, your guardian angels, all benevolent beings who support your journey. Feel their loving presence gathering around you now. Invite the pure white light of God's love to descend from above, entering through the crown of your head, watching as this radiant, protective light fills your entire body, every cell, every organ, every space within you, glowing now with this divine light. See this white light expanding beyond your physical body, creating a luminous sphere. That light of protection all around you, above, below, and on all sides. Within this sacred space, only love, healing, and the highest vibrations can reach you. Rest in this protected luminous space and turn your awareness fully to your chosen quality. If you chose love, feel your heart center softening and opening. Remember moments where you felt deeply loved or when you offered love freely. Let that feeling grow stronger, radiating from your heart in all directions. Imagine this love touching everyone and everything in your life. Rest in the sensation of being completely held in love, like you're resting in the hands of God, completely supported. And if you chose compassion, bring to mind someone who is struggling, perhaps yourself, a loved one, or even someone difficult in your life. Feel a wave of understanding and tenderness arise within you. Recognize the shared humanity, the universal desire to be free from suffering, and let compassion flow through you like a gentle stream, washing away any judgment or separation. If you chose kindness, notice the quality of gentleness already present within you. Recall any small acts of kindness that you've offered or received. Feel how kindness softens those edges of life. Maybe someone has done something nice for you unexpectedly, just out of the goodness of their heart, creating warmth and connection. Imagine extending this kindness to yourself first, then rippling outward to all beings. Rest in the sweetness of a kind and generous heart. Allow yourself to fully embody this quality. Let it fill every corner of your being. Expand it out. And notice how it feels in your body. Perhaps warmth, expansion, lightness, peace, or even all of the above. This is your vibration rising, aligning with your truest nature. You may feel a sigh of relief as we begin to gently bring our awareness back to our breath, just breathing in and out softly, naturally. Place your hands over your heart and offer sincere gratitude. Thank you to my spirit guides, guardian angels, and all beings of light who have supported me in this practice. Thank you for your protection, wisdom, and unconditional love. I am grateful for this opportunity to grow and evolve. As we take a moment to appreciate ourselves for showing up for this practice and for the commitment to your own spiritual growth. This meditation is most powerful when practiced consistently for 40 days. Consider this your sacred commitment to yourself and to your evolution. Things that may help keep your practice going is to practice at the same time each day, if possible. You may keep a journal nearby to track your progress and your experience. Note any shifts in your feelings, relationships, or daily life, and mark off each day when completed. Finally, celebrate your progress. Celebrate you. Each day of practice builds your spiritual strength and self-esteem. If you miss a day, simply begin again without judgment. Compassion for yourself is part of the practice. And when you complete your 40 days, take time to reflect on how you've grown. Look back through your journal. You have built a lot of evidence of your own dedication, resilience, and capacity for transformation. This is the foundation of genuine self-esteem. May you be blessed on your journey. May your vibration rise. May love, compassion, and kindness flow through you and touch all beings. As we begin to come back, you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Feel the cushion underneath you. You can roll your head around, your shoulders, roll your neck clockwise and counterclockwise. Rub your hands together, fully grounding yourself back into your body. And then when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Thank you, Mary, for this opportunity. And thank you, everyone, for being here and sharing this talk with me this evening.
Thank you, Brenda, for your wonderful insights and many helpful suggestions. We appreciate that. And now I will encourage you to visit our website at ccwh.com, where you will find the button to donate to our tax-deductible nonprofit organization. Please share what you can to help sustain our organization's goals. In anticipation of your generosity, I bless your offering with a prayer. Father, Mother God, you are the giver of every good and perfect gift. Give us all grateful hearts that we may share freely with others all you have given us. Amen. Now we end with the song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. And if you would imagine everyone holding hands in a circle while we sing.